right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's 7 o'clock. I think this is about as close as to on time as we've ever been. So, again, the show just keeps getting better every single week. I'm Johnny Torres. Welcome to the Art Sign. I hope you're all ready for the most important, relevant podcast in politics. Of course, plenty to talk about as there usually is, and mostly centered around foreign policy stuff. So I hope we can keep it interesting. But, of course, with this cast and crew, that's never a challenge. Let's go ahead and get over to the round table, and we got the usual cast of suspects tonight. From left to right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and start turning your mics on. I got Anibal Cabrera. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, guys. I don't know what camera. Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I know.
Camera one.
I apologize for missing.
That's all right. We know why you weren't.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you're good.
Evidently, people talked about me, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, that you would know if you watched the show.
I don't watch this.
And and there in the center chair, wearing military green to bring out those beautiful eyes, is Jake Hoffman.
So nice to me, as always. I need new compliments every week.
Well, I do what I can. It's and then of course that good-looking guy giving Jake a run for his money is Joe Simon. How's it going?
It's going good. Other than I thought my house was burning down earlier today. Good news. There was no fire.
No fire.
No fire.
That's always a good thing. No fire is always a
Save
good thing.
my fire for the show.
There we go.
All right. They'll get better. Don't worry.
Let's go ahead and let's bring up our list of topics for today. Now that we got this fancy little menu option here, as you can see, lots to talk about. We're going to go ahead and open the show with the biggest topic being Iran, as that's obviously still a developing issue. Of course, so now, there's all kinds of storylines, so I won't even start to kind of pick them apart because that's what the show is for. Dem primary, we lost some more faces in that whole run-on, and Trump impeachment, there's been some movement there. Not a whole lot, but we'll talk about it. Meghxit, if you don't know what Meghxit is, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. But unfortunately, it's been asked that we talk about it today, so Meghxit will be a topic. We're going to go hyper-local with talking about Bayshore Boulevard, and that'll be kind of a slightly larger conversation on just transportation and fatalities and that sort of thing. CNN whistleblower coming to town. We're going to give you the details about that. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, we'd love for you to join us. And then, of course, Tampa Bay's own Cabrera happening with the kickoff this weekend of the Children's Parade. And we'll kind of deconstruct that and talk about it. And if you don't know what Cabrera is, man, you're in for a treat. So lots to talk about today. Let's start with Iran. And, luckily we do have a veteran on the show who can give us some personal insight on what the hell's going on in the Middle East, because, of course, those of us on this side of the world can rarely make sense of it, but it's been happening for centuries. So let's go ahead back over to the center table. You got a kind of a breakdown here, Joe. We've got, of course, the plane crash.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian plane. It was a passenger jet that now Iran has said that they mistakenly shot it down.
Right.
Are you buying that story?
No, they. Yes, I am buying that. I do believe that they probably thought the United States was retaliating somehow, some way, whether with a drone or something like that. So, I don't doubt one bit that they mistakenly.
I think one of two different things happened there with the plane situation. I mean, you don't shoot down a passenger plane on purpose unless you want to pretend it's the United States that did it to cause a problem, or because you're kind of inept at warfare and you didn't know. It's kind of one or the other.
It's the second one.
It's inept. There's no way that you're able to. And again, this was for them to try to save face, which was why they started lying in the first place. But the moment news reports started to come out that they were not releasing the black box is the first time you're like, okay, they shot it down themselves.
Well, the other thing to remember is 76 of the people on the plane were Iranian. There's no way they intentionally shot down a plane carrying half the people on it were Iranian.
I don't think. And I don't pass anything when it comes to the Ayatollah doing whatever they want to do when it comes to that country.
Good point. I mean, we don't know.
No, and so I truly believe it was ineptitude in regards to that. And the funny thing is, the West Wing, for all of its faults and the beauty of that show, foretold of this kind of situation happening, where there was an issue in the Middle East, the U.S. Iranians were starting to get heated, and then the Iranians shoot down one of their own planes, thinking that it was an American spy plane.
Yeah.
And it took them forever to say that, no, they shot them down themselves.
Yeah.
But to save face, they said it was an accident.
I'm actually shocked that Iran admitted to accidentally shooting it down
in
any way, shape, or
that's
form.
why to me, I'm not sure if there was a plan here before that, and then they kind of they weren't going to release the black box at first, and then they kind of like backpedaled a little bit, and I think that they probably were just caught with their pants down
and
a little
Democrats are still blaming Trump for it, right? They're
course,
saying
that's the
because
story
of the
here.
tensions in Iran and the escalation that you did, President Trump, that's why they accidentally shot it down.
Well, it goes into Orange Man bad.
Yes.
That the Trump syndrome is so deep. Last week I was just sitting watching at home, and I was like, oh my, the amount of water the media is carrying for the Iranians, the government, not the people, is terrible. And the fact that they're blaming President Trump for the escalation that's occurred, because the history of Iranian doing bad things started with us killing the terrorists.
Yeah, there was articles talking about how Trump has blood on his hands for the plane getting shot down. It's like he didn't shoot down a passenger plane. That was them.
Because he took out a man who was about to carry out 4 more attacks, I believe Trump said it was, on 4 different U.S. embassies, one being the one in Baghdad, and there were going to be 3 other ones. So because he stopped that from happening, he did the wrong thing. He's in trouble. Yeah, makes no sense. They should have allowed Soleimani to live. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and when I was going back through our episode last week, I was looking at kind of what we were saying, which was pretty early on. It happened on Monday, and then all of these events happened later on in the week. And I'm looking at what we're talking about, and I'm going, okay, well, the Republicans, Trump, are going to end up looking really good at the end of this, because at Sunday, Monday, there was all the Democrats, all the media, everybody was saying basically like it's going to be World War III. Everything's going to be over. Right. Trump's ruining the world. Look what he's doing. He's going to get us into another war. And then we were sitting here on this panel saying, no, like things are actually like going pretty well. Like these were all good moves. And now here we are. Things are de-escalating. And it looks like this is going to be a huge win.
And now Democrats want to vote to limit his war powers, specifically with Iran, but also in general, right?
So the conversation about limiting the War Power Act, I think, I hate to say what I'm going to say. I kind of agree with the idea that we have given too much power to the executive branch. Mm-hmm. And I believe it is our responsibility as the people to have a check in that, where I believe if we are to go to war or there should be any large escalation, because again, we were everywhere with Obama. We were sending troops into Africa, sending troops into Asia, and they thought it was too much. And so I think of this more
drone
as
strikes every day.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, so for me, I don't think of this as us limiting Trump's power. I think it's the legislative putting some brakes on the executive.
But look at the timing that they're doing
and
it.
That's why that's why so many Republicans are like, I agree with this, but I'm not going to vote for it, because you are showing that you are just limiting the president.
And it's the wrong time to show Iran that
and that's
we're
why my
do
argument
like
at the end of the day is like, I don't think this is the proper time to be introducing this bill. But I do agree that this bill needs to get passed. So we bring some control on the executive.
I could get behind that.
Yes.
But this is the wrong time, and his policy is working in Iran.
Correct.
They backed down. They fired missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq intentionally in areas where they knew Iraqis and Americans would not be, because they didn't want one single American to die.
So to back up before we get to that, because I think that's a massive part of explaining what's going on in Iran right now. But before we jump to that, when it comes to Trump and the war powers vote that they had, you're seeing support from Republicans on sides that you wouldn't expect. Mm-hmm. Like when we posted about how Matt Gaetz was not going to side with Trump on this, we're all looking at each other like, I thought he'd be behind him.
I was shocked.
What I said was, he could push him in front of a old lady in front of a bus, and I thought that he would vote behind him and make defense on what she did wrong. And so to see, and then also Democrats have been siding on Trump's side, and you don't see that often. So what's really interesting about the war powers, it does become more of a constitutional question, more so than a current foreign policy question that has to do with Donald Trump.
And it should, and that's where the problem is. It should not be at this moment. This is not the place to have this.
No,
and they just want to say, "Oh, we're fighting against Trump."
He needs the ability to bluff. If you've ever read The Art of the Deal, there's a whole chapter on bluffing. and not ever intending to carry through. He didn't want war with Iran.
Again,
Yeah.
Within 40 to 72 hours, we went from we're starting World War III to Iran can't even figure out what a Tomahawk missile looks like from a jet plane.
Yeah.
So like that's where the biggest problem is. And now Iran is having so many problems on the home front.
Yes.
176 dead, 82 of them were Iranian, 63 were Canadian, and then the list goes down from Swedish, Afghanistan, German, Brits, and now all of Europe is pissed off at them.
Yes.
You pissed off Canadians, which I don't even know how that's possible. And that guy, I don't even know his name, but the guy with the beard who's prime minister, who evidently grew it because of some reason, a poll or something. Trudeau is now like, he's trying to act tough in front of the world, and it just looks like a frat kid got caught.
But they've even come out and said, Canadians are coming out and saying that they also blame Trump for this.
Of course they will.
And
Yeah.
the escalated
AP
tensions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Associated Press too in a headline. I mean, it was just ridiculous, to the point that they're doing everything they can because they know that every little article is going to be used against him, every little news coverage is going to be used against him. That's why we're going to get to it eventually. But I think all these media outlets were so quickly to jump on the Meghxit deal was because they realized that all this Iran news was actually playing in his favor. All this confusion, for lack of a better term, in Congress between what the president, was able and not able to do and limiting the powers and all that. I think that played right into Trump's hands because it showed that, Democrats weren't necessarily, predictably on one side or the other. Republicans weren't predictably on one side or the other. I mean, I think Matt Gaetz did the right thing, by saying, hey, we have a process here. We have a constitution here for a reason, and we need to make sure that we're upholding that. But,
But was this the right time to do that?
But this is the purpose of us having this system of government is where we're able to have these conversations.
But there's no right time. No,
yeah,
the truth
exactly.
is
There is no right time. But in the
Yeah.
midst of these conversations that we need to have this, it's a legitimate conversation to have.
It is.
Do I agree that this is the right time? No. But if we're having it, then I'm going to say I kind of would also kind of favor
We couldn't wait
not
2 or
voting for
3
this the
weeks
same way.
after the missiles have been fired.
No, because then you have the Iowa caucuses. You have that's the beauty.
You're
and
saying
the
it just
stupidity.
wouldn't happen. We
It's
wouldn't
the
get around
stupidity
to
of
it.
this because no one would be talking about this whatsoever if it wasn't in the middle of this very heated moment.
Do you think that limiting the president's war powers though is a good thing? The way it's being structured.
Because
right now?
I want Congress, the most direct elected individuals
Yeah.
when it comes to three branches, to say yes, I voted for X war. I
Yeah.
voted for X. So
But
then they actually
I
have
guess,
their
I guess
names
does,
on
it, does
it.
this count
Exactly,
for
put their names on it. So then we wouldn't have such, because again, even with the Iraqi war, with the war in Iraq, Biden is still having to carry water for that war
Yeah.
that he doesn't agree with, but he doesn't
But
explain
a Democrat
it still.
House and a Republican Senate,
Yes.
nothing's going to happen.
So one of the things I'm interested in kind of discussing with you guys then is, I mean, is this a war? Is this a war
No.
act? Right? Like, I mean, like,
No, it's
you're
not.
striking a general.
He killed
so
a terrorist.
Exactly.
I-
He killed a terrorist. I don't feel it any other
not
way
war.
when they're talking about it. The statistics, and as a vet, I would think you would be. A lot of my friends that are vets are extremely angry about the fact that the media is carrying water for a man
Yes.
that killed 600
It's
people,
insulting.
maimed
It's insulting,
like
honestly.
maybe tens of thousands, almost 100,000 people on both sides, and we're saying that this person shouldn't have been
Yes.
killed when he is in a country where he should not have been in,
Right.
Yeah.
because he wasn't
He was
allowed
in
to travel.
Iraq,
He is
illegally.
there causing problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we have issues in Yemen. We have issues in Jerusalem. We have issues in Lebanon because of this
Yes.
one individual.
Yeah, I think that's really well said, and I agree with you guys. I don't think that this is a war act. While it could be taken as a war act, and then it could escalate into a war in theory, right? I don't think
Iran's not that dumb.
we're not going that
They're not that
direction.
dumb.
But
Well,
when
the
it comes
clearest
to-
example is also the fact that they continue to send missiles towards installations where they think that American military is present,
Yep.
And we're not retaliating. And obviously, we all know that if we're going to retaliate, we're going to retaliate big. And
Yeah.
there hasn't been that retaliation from Americans because so far, I think they are bluffing
Well, it's 'cause we
as much as
won.
Trump was.
But they don't have much to bluff with.
But this is-
what are
this
they
is-
going to do?
That's not.
Well, no, but I mean,
that's not
like,
the-
I think they are intentionally going after these targets that they know are going to be empty.
Yes.
You know,
yes,
and-
no, they
and-
did. That's exactly
Right.
100% what they did.
Now, there was an observation made that I think is a very smart one, which is that when Iran does legitimately retaliate, It's not going to be soon. It's going to be sometime in the future when we least expect it, and it's not going to be in a way that we expect it. And so I don't expect them to retaliate in the way that you would traditionally expect a country to do, because they don't have the means to do it that way.
But they can do dirty bombs and things like that.
No, that's not going to happen. I think what's really occurring is the Iranian Ayatollah is trying to save face. The country,
exactly,
100%.
Exactly.
The country
100%.
internally is falling apart economically. 40% as unemployment we have, or 40% in inflation is happening there at the moment. And then there's been 3 days of anti-government protests.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is, for me, was the worst conversation to have with people. Well, look at all the people out in the streets supporting the dead general. I'm like, yes, and North Korea gets 100% vote every single time.
Yeah.
Please do not be as naive to assume that inside a dictatorship, they're not going to have as many people as possible to support that regime.
Yeah. So like I look at what happened over the past week, and I look at it like, so like imagine you have a kid, and your kid is just like kicking a wall, right? And just like kicking doors.
Yeah.
And then you're like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. And then you like smack him a little bit. And you're like, stop doing that. And then like he like gives like one more little kick. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, come on. And then you guys leave. Yeah. And like that's kind of what I feel like happened here.
That is the
like,
whitest thing to ever. What kind of?
I understood it 100%.
Of course you would.
If
I would have kicked the wall in my house, I would have got a foot in my face from my mother in a heartbeat. And then me going to repaint the wall that I just scuffed up. No, I get it.
You get what
I'm saying. The majority of people here
right?
watching are white, so they'll understand your analogy.
See, but we can laugh about race. That's what makes Republicans different. We can actually joke around about it. Are you offended, Jake? I'm not offended.
I'll make it through the show. Don't worry.
We'll cry in our car.
But anyway, that's kind of my point. Like it is like there was a back and forth. There was an argument, and then all of a sudden, like those last couple missiles that were launched into something that they knew was not going to hurt anything, was not going to be a big enough. Because during that day, you were waiting to see, like, are they really going to retaliate? Like, are they going to, like, I don't know, try and send a missile, something that's really important to us? Like, are they going to try and do something like that? Like, that's not what happened at all. Like, it was like a little it's like at the end of a firework. It's like, Pia.
And that was like a beautiful analogy. I mean,
I thought so.
It was perfect.
It makes complete sense that you're watching a government that knows it could never be able to retaliate legitimately to the United States. But we're gonna sink their navy again, which we did already once. And so that's the kind of conversation you're having. Iran is trying to save face when it comes to their own people. Yeah. Their people are so upset that they've lied to them multiple times.
Well, it's state-run media, right?
Becoming an issue.
Isn't it state-run media?
But now you have people quitting state media because they're so upset they had to lie. Well, you have the only female Olympian from Iran defecting and giving a huge post. The president's tweet in Farsi was the most liked Farsi or Persian tweet in history. With almost 400,000.
So if you guys didn't know this, our president put out a tweet in Arabic. It's
Farsi.
In Farsi. It is the most liked tweet and retweeted tweet in another language in history, and that's saying something.
That's incredible.
I mean, I've said this before. He's also keeping Twitter alive, so it doesn't really count.
Yes.
But it does matter.
Side note, though, to play devil's advocate.
Yep.
Would Republicans not have lost their minds if Barack Obama had tweeted in Farsi?
Okay, yes, because he would have been saying, "I'm so sorry that we killed your general." So but it would have been the context. If he tweeted in Farsi, "Hey, knock it off over there, or we're gonna blow you up," I'd be like, "Yeah, all right, you got some balls."
Yeah,
now,
but
Obama.
still, it feeds a lot of the conspiracy.
I see where you're coming from. It
I
depends on what
get exactly what you're saying.
As long as President Trump doesn't tweet in Russian, I think we're fine.
It depends on the message. Yeah. But yes.
Well, but to getting to, now that Anibal tried to take the whole wind out of the conversation,
I'm back, baby.
What does it say about, aside from the obvious, right? What does it say that the Iranian people are protesting the fact that, that this has kind of gone sideways on the Iranian government?
Well, this is they were protesting before all of this happened, right? Like this actually distracted from the fact that there already was protests. Like their government is not going well. I think you hit on all of the reasons why it is not going well. And again, it doesn't look good for the country, and that's why all these journalists quit, because all of a sudden they were going to be told, like, hey, you need to print a story that says, like, we retaliated and we showed them and we had the final word. And they're all kind of like, no, we didn't. What are you talking about? And I think that that's kind of what's going on in the country right now. And they're looking at it and they're going, our leadership is getting everything sanctioned. Yeah. Our economy is tanking. We can't have, like, normal lives. We can't do any of this kind of stuff.
They're not helping them.
And they're not helping it at all. And so at the end of the day, like, the people are uprising based on our sanctions.
And
So the
Iranians
sanction
are
is
not
working.
bad people.
No,
course
this
not.
is not.
You will not
nothing
find
to do.
Republicans that say that the Iranian people are bad.
Well,
we don't believe
yeah.
that. There's some, sure. There's
yeah.
some bad Americans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there's a huge amount of pro-American sentiment within the Iranian population. At one of the protests, they painted a flag on the ground, right? The government did, I think, for people to walk on, for people to step on and trample, right, and desecrate. But everybody, there's a video of it. There's thousands of people on the road all around the flag. They wouldn't walk on it. And then finally, one of the government agents walked on it to try to get it started. The entire crowd is booing at him, shouting at him.
You're
Like,
the real winner.
was
in this whole-
incredible.
the real winner in this whole situation is media, social media, and the internet.
Yeah.
the
gosh.
fact that
They always
the
win.
reason,
Yeah,
I know.
wins.
when did they lose?
And the reason, the big reason why you couldn't hide this was because video of the rocket hitting the plane was already online within hours.
Yeah.
You had pictures of debris, so then people could already start analyzing what's going on. So you didn't even need the black box. You could tell that these missiles that they shot, that they know Iranian has, blows up in front of the plane or whatever object and then projects all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hence why you didn't hear anything from the pilots, because they were probably already dead.
They didn't see it coming.
No, they didn't see
missile
and
coming.
that's the conversation and the ineptitude of the Iranian government that you're sending out rockets. Someone might come in on Earth. Why are planes still flying out of Tehran? Why on earth is that happening? Now you have a situation where all commercial flights are not going to be.
And now they've got more enemies. They just made more enemies
Oh
with
yeah, again,
Canada,
half of Europe,
right?
Canada,
Right?
Half
Believe
of
it or
Europe-
not, Canadians have a great military, and I wouldn't want to piss them
that
off.
we've built.
And
trained.
could we, as the United States, say, "Hey, Canada, you can't attack Iran"? I mean, we could say it, but
I don't think
at the end of the day, they have the right
I
to
don't think they're gonna
retaliate.
retaliate. I
Oh,
think
we
what's
know
gonna-
for a fact Trudeau's not going to do anything. But I'm saying
they're
it's
gonna
possible.
litigate. That's what
they don't
gonna
want.
do.
They're making more enemies than just the United States right now.
And that's
It's
why
not a
Iran
good
doesn't
idea.
have a piss to piss on or piss to stand
pot
right
to
now.
piss on.
Yeah,
pot to piss on.
It's because there is no.
They've got nothing going on.
Yeah, they have so much happening
Down
right
there.
now that at the moment, Iran dealing with us is the last thing on their mind. They're just trying to survive as a regime.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's going to happen. I would love to see that change. And even though
For
we're
the
not,
people to rise
yeah,
up.
we're not asking for regime change, but I would love to see that happen.
I'm not trying to ask for a regime change, but you guys should change regimes.
Which again,
But we've seen how they do it. They quell these protests. They've learned from Hong Kong
by shooting
what not to
their
let happen.
protesters.
They do not want a Hong Kong situation in
No.
their backyard.
China has, and
They
again,
will do all things possible
and we're
to
not
avoid
talking
that.
about this when it comes to what's going on around the world, but again, when you can't even deal with your own people, China, Iran, Russia, then you stop making a mess of America.
Well, and that's what
because you have
happens-
someone else to deal with.
And that's what happens when you have these governments that are set up, whether they're socialist or they're communist countries. At the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff that happens. You have uprisings. That's how the world works. This is how it's worked in 130 different countries now.
Yes.
So then it's a nice transition into the Democratic primary for what they're trying to push.
Good
That was
job.
that was a good
Transition.
It
setup.
took a
Right,
while
right.
for the plane to land. No pun.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Either a rocket or by its own grounds, but the plane
Yeah.
landed for the transition.
So
All right,
I
20 minutes on Iran's fair.
yeah, I think we're good. We covered it last week, and
Such a big topic, though. I mean,
yeah,
there
it's
were
really important.
three
I mean,
different
again,
facets
last
to
week we
it.
thought we were going to World War III, so it's an important topic.
First of all, this was the worst World War III ever.
It
if
was-
that's
it
how
was.
it's going to go.
It's pretty
I
boring.
was so bored,
Yeah.
and nothing really
I don't
happened.
know. I don't know how you were bored. The World War III memes were fantastic.
They
There
were
was so much
amazing.
entertainment.
The world wasn't even involved. I mean,
Exactly.
like how terrible of a world war
Yeah.
was it?
Like France
think
didn't
more
even get
than two
involved.
countries have to
Like
be
if
involved,
France doesn't
right?
get
Yeah.
conquered, then it's not really a world war at all.
If the French don't surrender, it doesn't count.
Now that was painful.
The ambassador of
I'm
France
part
was
French.
already at the UN ready to surrender.
Oh man.
Well, it is
Too
20.
far.
I thought
No,
it was
too far.
WW3.
Well, we got to update it for 2020. So if France or Canada doesn't surrender, it doesn't count.
All right, I do agree with you guys. So let's.
We're not going to be banding Canada, by the way.
You guys, first off, you ruined my transition. We transitioned, and then now
It
we
was
just
beautiful.
No,
moved
this actually makes
just
complete
like your
sense why we
analogy.
we
did it.
moved away. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate
well
all
before
the
we
support
well
today.
before we get into the Dem Primary, a quick shout out to Hector, who's lively in the comments section.
Oh, Hector.
Although he's asking if Trump ever tweeted in Spanish, and I would say that's a no.
I think he has.
There's like 14,000 to go through. I'm sure he could find one.
I'm almost positive it's happened once.
No, I don't think so. It would have been as big a deal as this Farsi bit.
No, I think the Farsi was an actual issue in regards to the world having an uprising in a country.
Yeah.
Well,
In
not
the
only
middle of
that,
this.
given Trump's history with Muslim countries, the fact that he would tweet in Farsi is a huge deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
Whoever made that recommendation, which probably was him also himself, doing it, earned their
Debatable.
paycheck.
Yeah,
No, I think it was Scavino or Pascal.
No.
Social media has
Could've been
been their
Parscale.
thing.
It has been.
They have the smartest people on earth running
Oh,
his
yeah.
digital media
Yeah.
campaigns. So
I love it.
Yeah. All right, so back to the Dem primary as the graphics shows, and we are not, in which we are not
So
talking about.
who is using the
Nobody's
graphic that
talking
we
about
have up right now? Who is
Yeah.
actually
Do we-
still in it?
We should have like little X graphics.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
are you not able to add little X's on
So
there?
fake Spanish guy is
Not
out.
fake,
Spartacus is out. I think
Harris is on there. Harris is out.
Harris is out. So
the real Spanish
Oh,
guy.
Beto's
but
on
doesn't
it.
speak
the only
Cory
Spanish
Booker's
guy is
out.
out, and he doesn't speak Spanish.
That's right.
So basically, who
Forcing
are we-
his brother to get a beard so we could tell them apart.
So
Well, the big news is obviously the Castro brother dropping out.
that was last
that
week.
was last week.
Cory
That's right.
Booker.
Spartacus.
Oh
so
my God, that's right. Spartacus.
Cory Booker
We had
/
another-
Spartacus resigned. He didn't
Resign.
end
He didn't-
his campaign, but he suspended his campaign. Was announced earlier today
Same
after
thing.
not making
is.
it for a second round of debates. This now qualifies that no minorities or individuals will be making it to the debates
How
tomorrow,
hypocritical.
which
It is
no one
hypocritical.
realized it was tomorrow. Evidently,
This
from
is a
this
huge-
group
If
of
Democrats
people.
want
I had no
minorities
idea.
so bad, why don't they have one on the stage?
Old white people is what the Democrats are running.
this is
and
what the
that's
Democrats
what it
want,
is.
guys. This is what the
It's-
Democrats want. They
Well,
want.
and the biggest part about this story is that a Booker, pretty much since he came on the scene, but when he was still mayor of Newark, people thought that he was going to be the next Obama.
I remember
People
that.
thought
I
he was
I
going to
remember
be.
that, yeah.
He's a
They
horrible
had
speech giver.
anointed him Obama 2.0.
Yep.
This is the thing. I actually if you listen to Cory Booker from 2 years ago, so before like the campaign really started, like he went on Joe Rogan. He sounded
Yeah.
great. He has a fantastic story behind him. Like when you start listening through like what he was able to do in Newark. And then you start jumping into like the politics and the circus of Congress, and then like he had his Spartacus moment, and that was like basically the end of his presidential
It was.
campaign
It
right
really
there. Like
was.
I mean, like, and it was unfortunate for him because I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't so bad that you would think it would ruin the entire campaign, but it ruined his whole campaign.
I'm going to admit something. I have no idea what the heck y'all are talking about.
You know who Spartacus is?
I
You
know
don't
who Spartacus is,
or
but how
Booker.
does this? I know who Cory Booker
So
is.
there was
but
a
I'm saying-
situation that occurred maybe 2 years ago or a year ago
During the Kavanaugh hearings.
during the Kavanaugh hearings where he was like, it was very passionate. He had a really good speech.
Okay.
But it fell on deaf ears, and so now everyone's like, "Oh, it's just."
It was
Spartacus.
like he was extremely angry in a
Yeah.
moment where everybody around him was
foaming
like,
a little bit on the mouth.
everyone was like, "Chill out!" Like you're like
Okay.
screaming about this, like chill out.
I'll have to look
Spartacus.
this
And,
up.
yeah,
I
you
have
to,
no-
you guys, if you haven't, but so anyway,
Maybe
he
everybody
got-
else knows what I'm talking.
Yeah.
What they're talking about. I have no idea.
Well, it's always good to say that you don't know what we're talking about.
I agree.
So-
Hey,
so
I'm
either
very
way-
honest about that.
So either way, he's no longer in the race anymore. I don't think he was polling
Bye,
very
Felicia.
high. So
No, he couldn't make it. At the last debate, he was down one poll that he couldn't make it. 4 polls, and this time
Yeah.
he didn't make. He didn't earn the money. He didn't anything. He's been struggling for months to raise money and to be.
So what does it say about the Democratic
But
Party?
why?
What does it
Right.
say about the
Yeah,
Democratic
Because
Party?
Democrats
Yeah.
don't like black people. Like that's the reason.
But that's what they run
Oh
on.
my
That's
God.
that's what they're running on is minorities, and that they want to help all the minorities, and that they would elect a minority, and then at the end of the day, there's not a minority on that stage anymore, so they're liars.
well,
Yeah.
there are still minorities that are still running in the Democratic primaries
Why aren't they on stage?
Who?
because they
don't have the support.
Who's left?
Who's left? Think about this for a second. There's an Asian.
Oh, Yang.
Yang.
Okay.
Oh, Yang.
but you know,
And then Tulsi Gabbard is Hawaiian, and she does qualify
Wait,
as a
let me
minority.
see. I do have the. Actually,
She
I do
does?
have the.
Yeah, she does qualify as a minority.
What percentage?
I do have the
What
bingo
percent?
card.
More than Elizabeth Warren?
more
Yes.
than Elizabeth.
I do
Warren.
agree,
More than
more than
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
Warren.
Really?
Yeah, Tulsi's Hawaiian, right?
Yeah, she is Hawaiian, so she
Right.
technically is a minority.
Just because you're born in Hawaii, or she's
And then,
actually
and then there's a governor, like the black governor from like Maine
black
or
governor
something.
from
No,
Maine.
he's already. I think he's already.
No, he's
Who?
not. He's still
What
in.
was his
Deval
name?
Patrick.
Yes, Deval Patrick
He's still
is
in?
still in. Yes.
All right.
Well,
let's see.
he's not on the stage. So.
No, yeah.
That's
there's a-
So-
people that
So the
matter.
people that are on the stage coming up this Tuesdays is again Biden, Buttigieg, Amy
Klobuchar.
Klobuchar, Sanders, Tom Steyer, and Elizabeth Warren. Tom Steyer is someone I'm very surprised. Steyer, I'm very surprised about because that
he
shows
spent more than the entire rest of the Democratic Party so far.
It shows that the Democrats are more than willing to get bought out when it comes to their votes. He is up. He's increasing in Nevada. He's increasing in Massachusetts. He's increasing in a lot of.
I have not heard him speak yet. Like
I don't think he speaks at all.
But we pay attention to politics. I have not watched.
He was in the last debate, I believe.
No, no one heard it.
He's been on the debate stage.
I can't remember any. I haven't heard any.
No clips. Not one clip. Not one article.
I've heard him.
It's
not memorable,
but
I can't tell you one thing he said.
Moment, but I just know about a crusty billionaire. My gosh!
But here's the other thing: Bloomberg is about to come out swinging.
That's what people keep saying.
He's about to spend
four
times the amount.
What is the swing that he's going
Steyer
to?
It'll be a swing and a miss. That's for sure.
I saw a Bloomberg commercial the other day, and I was like, oh, I thought that's right. Because he came out and said like at the beginning of his campaign, like I'm gonna run a campaign that like no one's ever seen before, and I'm like. Who? There's no big Bloomberg wave behind him. Like there's
not
nobody.
But
behind,
there is money. He's got a lot of it. Yeah,
which
he said he would self-finance up to $1 billion.
That's what's going to allow him to survive. That's what's going to allow him to survive is the fact that he's going to have money at the end of the day when all the others run out.
He's not. He doesn't have.
It changes week to week.
No, it doesn't change week to week. If it would
change week to week.
If it would change week to week, then you wouldn't have Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders as the front runners, and they've been significant front runners for 4 years now. So they have been the front runners consistently for 4 years, and I don't think people are moving out of their camps.
I don't think
for
so
those
either.
people at all.
No, because
and then Elizabeth Warren I think has a camp, and again I've said multiple times on the show she's my pick for coming out of the Democratic primary. That's who I'd put my money on. Warren.
I
think she's going to end up winning.
Be the nominee.
I don't think she'll be
Pocahontas.
I think she'll end up. I think she'll end up being the
nominee.
I agree.
The reason why I say I don't agree that she'll get the nominee because I don't think she'll have enough delegates whatsoever to be able to.
The Trump campaign just announced that they consider. You wait for 3 seconds and we're jumping in.
That usually does not happen.
The Trump campaign just announced.
Quick. New York, the New York mayor, Bloomberg. Bloomberg is doing the most long game because he thinks as he can win a few delegates that he'll be able to contest in a contested convention, and that's where he thinks he'll win.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
There is definitely a
horrible strategy.
There's a reason. I don't think it's going to work, but I do believe a convention that's broken is what's going to happen because we can all agree that we are watching.
I feel like
we are watching a civil war when it comes to the Democratic Party.
That's what happened with the Trump Party too.
No, there was a lot of infighting with Republicans. There was not a broken convention.
The establishment did not want to get. There wasn't a broken convention, but the establishment did not want to get behind Trump.
He won the amount of delegates that he needed before the first round, which means that he won the majority of the party before voting even commenced at the convention. So that shows that we were not.
But we also don't have super delegates, right?
We have super delegates.
So this is the thing. But this is the thing. Like as terrible as the DNC is at as terrible as the DNC is at picking candidates and how bad they do like running their primaries, I don't think they're going to let that happen. I just don't see that happening, and I don't think so either.
Because they know that will be the death of them.
It all depends who wins the first two states. If it's not. Honestly, if Pete Buttigieg can take one of those states, or Elizabeth Warren can take one of those states, or even Bernie can take one of those states,
no, look, at this
that
point,
causes a bigger problem.
At this point, I don't think Pete Buttigieg could take his own state. Okay, I don't think he's going to get a single one.
Yeah,
he had his shot and he lost it. I mean, he had a lot of things going for him. He's gay, number one. Democrats like gay. I'm just saying. He's gay. That's gay.
He's
gay.
It's
actually a benefit.
That's what I'm saying. He's gay, and to Democrats, that's to anybody that's positive. But
that's
run
actually
on run on the LGBTQ
they
run on
special interests. But this
is
what I'm going to say about it, and then I don't know how many other shows are going to talk about it, but he is polling at 0% amongst black people.
Wait, that's my line. I say that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So take it, but it doesn't matter who says it; it's still true. And while you say Democrats are supposed to vote for an LGBT candidate, like that's who they herald. It's not.
They don't have any black or Hispanics.
And I will tell you right now that whether it's an open secret or a secret, like the black community, Hispanic community is still not going to vote for a gay candidate.
And that is an interesting point. But they are Democrats, right?
They are still Democrats.
Trump. They will vote.
They would vote for him, but not in the primary.
Again, we've talked about this before. If you increase if you decrease, or I'm sorry, you increase the Republican vote in the black and brown community to plus 15%, you win the election.
Yeah.
That's all it needs.
Aren't they
and
saying
right now it's
30-something
running 30.
support
That's what
him?
I'm saying. 37, 35%. So even if that's half right, we're still winning this election.
Absolutely.
The problem is right now.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about the Democratic primary just to turn back and go, they're still all going to lose. We really do.
And that's becoming the biggest problem right now is that I want to see a Pete. I would love to see Pete get the nomination. I don't think it's going to happen.
No way.
Bernie, I don't think they'll let him get the nomination.
But Trump just came out today and said that he is now the front runner of the Democratic.
And that
primary
pisses off the
race.
Democratic establishment.
What do you think the
which
strategy
is
was
what's
behind
causing
that?
this whole
Well,
situation at the
because
moment?
he's the commander in trolling. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like.
So you think it was
I mean,
just strategic? You don't
Of
actually
course it was
strategic
strategic.
trolling, yeah.
Of course it was.
I'm saying just strategic. You don't put any
Yes.
truth behind
He
it.
loves it. He
Yes.
loves
Bernie's been
throwing fuel
raising,
to the fire.
I think, more money than Biden recently.
That's
As
fine.
of recent.
That's fine. That
So
doesn't
there
mean
might
anything.
actually be
right?
something
The
to
simple
it.
fact that AOC can say that she doesn't believe that in any other country that they would be in the same party, her and Joe
Yeah,
Biden, is
right.
phenomenal.
You know what? I
Why
think
would you
I
say that
agree.
out loud?
I
Yeah.
think it's because Emily Ratajkowski came out for Bernie Sanders and she posted like
She
an Instagram
did?
video. Yeah, and I was
You're
like
breaking
so
my heart.
disappointed in her.
You are
I was
breaking-
like,
Who is this person?
It's
She
not.
was the girl that was in that music video with Blurred Lines. She was the Blurred Lines music
yeah.
video. Jake wanted to leave that out, but
It's
might as well
important.
go and put it
My
in.
point is that
Oh,
some of my
she's the
favorite
home
Hollywood.
wrecker.
you should put an
Is she
image
the
of her
home
up.
No, it's different.
She's the home
You are
wrecker.
somebody
That'll be a
else.
whole other show.
Get us more views. Hey, that'll
That-
be our
This has
thumbnail for
become
this
the
one.
E for Republican entertainment.
Speaking of E for Republican entertainment, we do have Meghxit coming up.
No,
my
we
God.
still
Were
got
we
two more
done?
hot topics
Were
to talk
we
about.
done with the Democratic primary?
I think I'm done with the
No,
Democratic
I have
primary.
one more
I mean,
comment. To,
oh,
I have
okay.
one more comment to make in regards to the Democratic primary. And this is the transition that you should be watching. That the impeachment situation will be taking out the Democrat primary, their senators, out of the race for the next 3 weeks, for 6 days out of the week, which is phenomenal. Which either tells you either Pelosi is ingenious, making sure that all the senators will not become president because she's more focused on Joe Biden, or she's inept and doesn't know how to tell time. I'm going for the latter in regards to that, because her inability to see how quickly impeachment imploded on her face is remarkable.
She did not see that coming.
Yeah.
She never saw that coming.
For as much of
She
a
thought this
tactician as
was
she
it.
is, I'm very surprised
Yeah.
that she's allowed herself to
I
go
actually
into this.
disagree. I actually think that she saw this coming. I think that's why she was hesitant
Oh,
to
yeah.
do impeachment
She
in
saw
the
what
first place.
coming?
Oh, I agree.
The failure,
that
the
I
failure,
knew.
of it,
I
the
agree.
failure
She
of
knew this
impeachment.
was going to happen.
I think that
Only
she.
too far into it, though. At
No,
first she
no,
did not see it
no.
coming.
because she was hesitant to do impeachment in the first place.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's true.
And
Exactly
because she
right.
was hesitant in the first place, it leads me to believe that, like we were talking about, you have all of these other civil war going on within the party.
Yep.
She's got her hand forced, and she's probably sitting behind closed doors saying, like,
I told
no, like, let's not do this. This impeachment thing is not going to work. We don't have the votes for it. Like, they all knew it wasn't going to pass the Senate. Like,
She's
that was,
basically the mother of the Democratic Party.
she tried.
Right.
And at the
Yeah,
end
but
of the
don't
day, like,
forget that a lot of these freshmen tried to get her out, and she almost lost that election.
well, and that's how this is why she's doing it. She's saving face for herself and the party. She's saving
Yeah.
face for the party. Like, she's trying
Yeah.
to unite the party behind,
But
against one
AOC
person.
will not give any of her fundraising dollars to the She's
Oh,
not
yeah.
even paying her
That's
dues.
a whole nother conversation.
But it's
Right
not on
now-
the board.
That's a big power move.
1 year freshman Democrat who is not sitting on any major campaign, any committees, is causing such a ruckus inside the Democratic
It's the
Party.
power of social media.
And if-
She's
and
got
let
all
me
the
tell
money.
you,
She's
and
got all the
Stop
money.
it. Yeah,
And
$5
let me-
million
Yeah.
she's been is not giving any money to
None of it.
whatsoever.
She won't even
It's
pay
'cause
her
she doesn't
dues.
believe that she's a Democrat.
Well, and let me tell you this: if Bernie does not get the nomination, they are going to feel her wrath. I think she's going to come after all of them,
100%.
and she's going to try to take over the Democratic
That's
Party.
fine.
She's funding. she's
fine.
funding completely unknown people now,
Oh yeah,
and their
so run against
bids
Democrats.
Yep. Just
to
a,
unseat Nancy Pelosi and
it's just a
Chuck Schumer and all the people that she doesn't like.
gaggle of bartenders.
It's genius. It's genius. In
How long are you
I wonder-
holding that?
10 seconds.
I wonder,
10
does she carry a bottle opener
Who's
wherever she
Jake's
goes?
writer? Who's Jake's writer? One on my team.
Yeah,
Someone earned their money today. Michelle, good job.
I have a feeling she still carries a bottle opener.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. It takes years for people like that to get that out
No,
of their system.
so anyway, my point. I guess I don't know where I was going with all of it the first time, but right now I'm trying to make the point of that. I'm trying to make the point that I don't think that she really believed in impeachment at the beginning. I don't think she thought that she had the votes for it, but her hand was forced at the end of the day. And now the reason and I don't think that it's surprising to her right now that this is all coming back to kind of bite her.
So why did she hold on to the articles then?
So holding on to the articles is a little bit like, that's iffy, right? Like at that point, is it because it's the only thing she has going on for her right now. It's only like power of leverage she has is like holding on to these impeachment papers. And basically what I would say here is, I don't want to like be too conspiracy theory, but I think that she's probably pretty good friends with Joe Biden. They've only been in in Congress together for 50 years. So I think that it's more beneficial for him and even Bernie Sanders to have all the other senators in session while this impeachment is going on, while they should have a ground game in Iowa.
But can we also talk about the fact of how lucky? Well, and it's not lucky, because obviously we know the media is always going to play favorites to her and her agenda and her party, right? But the fact that she walked over the impeachment papers to the Senate with her tail between her legs and nobody reported on it.
She hasn't submitted them yet. She's submitting them tomorrow after the caucus vote.
I know, but it's already a given.
Yeah, so
right?
She committed.
But nobody's
last week, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's because people are not carrying water for her, or they are carrying water for her. Say, she's a genius. She did this.
Yeah. People are sick of hearing it.
Calling her a genius.
So much water. Again,
they have impeachment fatigue.
Again, impeachment at the earliest now, if she delivers them tomorrow, will start on the 21st of this month. We'll reach well through into February, which means the first round of voting in Iowa will have already happened. And now you're causing such a problem because this is a calendar thing now. You're pushing everything back. The State of the Union is going to be in the middle of this. So now you have the conversation. Does the president try to push it back? No, I think he goes up there in the middle of the
because he's going to steal viewers.
Yeah, exactly. And just
people are going to watch him over that.
It's going to be beautiful. And see what the reproach will be in regards to what the Democrats will say is going to be mind-boggling, because he's now officially impeached. He's forever impeached. So was Clinton, and he was reelected.
Yep.
So please don't give me any of that crap. It's like, this is going to be a scarlet letter on him.
I think that if you had to ask me like what the strategy is also behind holding it so long, is that if they can hold it to the point in which they're actually going to have a Democratic candidate in a debate with Donald Trump, and they can use that as fodder and say like, I'm in a debate right now with somebody under impeachment. Yeah, and I think that might be something that they're looking to do.
But we gave Trump the rebuttal. Yes, I'm impeached. So was Clinton, and he won, and he'll throw that in the face.
I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm saying that I think that I do think, yes, it makes sense to a lot of people, but I do think that it's also, if American public who has not been paying any attention, like, I don't know, my mom called me and was like, she's like, he's getting impeached, he's going to get taken out of office, right? And I'm like, that's not how any of this works. But that's not how.
Calm down, Karen.
That's what everybody thought.
But that's what everybody thinks. Yeah. That's what everybody thinks.
So it's a done deal. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like he's getting kicked out of office. Like that's not actually how it works. At the end of the day, like.
Trump walks on a stage in Michigan, goes, doesn't feel like I'm impeached.
Yeah.
That's right. The first line, I say either
hilarious.
He says the first line in the State of the Union is to touch that third rail of impeachment, or he doesn't say it at all.
Right.
Which is even better. He doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Which is why it gives him the option to be as trolly as he
wants
to.
He's super
which
trolly.
Which is going to be phenomenal. Like the drinking games for this year's State of the Union.
Oh, I didn't even.
We need to think about.
Maybe we'll talk about live streaming after it. We'll have to do that.
I need clear alcohol. And so I think this is phenomenal what's happening at the moment. I think she has a lot of cake on her face because of how much she's having a problem.
She's the face of it. That's the problem for her. She didn't want to do it, supposedly.
Yeah.
And she was the face of it.
So what's going to happen now is once they throw out the impeachment articles in a month from now, which again is another month that we're talking about this crap. Yeah. Does she get reelected for House?
Yeah, because she's still the face of it, and on the Democratic side, I mean, name recognition is more than anything.
I'm throwing it out there. Someone on the squad becomes.
I think they're gonna.
I'll take that bet. If you want to put that up on the big board,
and horrible.
But that's the thing.
Well, you're on the record
now. So upset.
He's on the record.
They're
Keep it.
So upset.
Johnny,
they're going to throw someone up there. They're going to have to throw someone.
No, but this is the thing. They're going to yell, "Hey, we need to maintain our leadership to keep the momentum in the impeachment, and to keep things going." They're gonna cry foul, and they're gonna whine for Pelosi, and she's going to be back.
They're already crying foul because the Senate is going to do what Trump wants them to do, and it's already already a rigged game.
Yeah,
because
but it's
the
one of
House
those.
wasn't a rigged
It's
game
the
at
old.
all.
It's the old saying that you don't change horses in midstream. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna say, hey, let Nancy finish this out, and once this impeachment stuff's over, then we'll go ahead and show her the door.
I mean, she is freaking old. Let's be honest here. At
Well,
some
so are the
point, people are
candidates.
supposed to retire.
So
Yeah,
are the
no
candidates.
kidding. Joe Biden would be the oldest one. No, and Bernie actually.
Both of them.
Right? Yeah,
Both of them.
They're
would
both
be the
in their
oldest
high 70s.
ever. They're both older than Trump.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, let me tell you
Bernie's
this.
already
though.
had heart surgery during
And-
his campaign.
Let me tell you this about that whole
I
scenario
know you
is
wanna
that
talk about that.
I'm actually a little frightened of the day that Nancy Pelosi decides to call it quits, because if you look at her district, it may be, if not, it surely is maybe the most progressive, most left-leaning district in the country. And so what kind of a congressperson are we going to get after Nancy Pelosi?
Another AOC.
The second
You know,
most,
I
the
think
second
so.
most
Absolutely.
powerful Democrat in
Yeah.
Congress before AOC was taken out by AOC. I would not
Yeah.
be surprised if there's a huge challenger when she
Yeah.
comes up for re-election, and it's someone just as crazy.
Well,
However,
and that's why
the
she had
problem
to
is
do
you
this,
don't
though.
get the kind of power you get once the senator or congressman leaves. That power dissipates, and someone
Yeah.
else moves up in the rankings. But again, the Democrats are so.
I don't think she's going to get
are
reelected.
so
AOC?
imploding on themselves
she
that
will.
I don't see where this is going to
she will.
happen. If she cannot get the impeachment to land correctly, which she's not going to be able to, then it just makes it look worse. And the whole point of them wanting to get witnesses is for them to figure out what was said behind closed doors. But if you allow witnesses, then you have to allow the Bidens and Joe Biden to get in there.
yes.
And you don't want, and that's
Right.
that's the double-edged sword that people
Right.
are talking about.
Right.
You don't want witnesses. This was a boondoggle from the get-go. But yet you thought that Shifty Schiff was being truthful when he reenacted what he thought the whistleblower actually told him, or
guys.
allegedly told him.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm done with impeachment right now. I'm done with
Nobody's even
Democrats.
talking about impeachment.
Done with
really,
Democrats.
so.
Done with impeachment. I think we move on to something more important like Meghxit.
All right, well, real quick,
Meghxit.
before we do that, let's go ahead and bring up our little menu list here. Got to show it off. I put it together. Might as well use it.
I
looks
think I
really
love it.
good.
But here's been our
It's all right.
topics so far for tonight. Of course, we were just talking about Trump's impeachment and Meghxit. Now, the debate is whether or not there's an H in Meghxit.
I will say
thought
we
we
did
said
not
there
spell it right. Probably.
I don't.
Yeah.
Is there an
I
H?
thought we took the H out before the show started.
Well, I took
did.
it out
We
somewhere
talked
else.
about it.
Anyways,
Look, we
it's-
can't.
Somewhere
We
else.
can't look. We have. This is what happens.
Screw
when we
it.
have-
We'll do it live.
This is what happens when we have a show that only has 4 guys on it. Nobody
Yeah.
here knows how to spell
Nobody's
the princess's
proofreading
name.
anything.
Yet somehow this ended up on our list of topics for today.
because this is the thing. I actually think it's important, right? Like, so I think that it is important because anytime that you have the
Because
British
she's going to run for president and then give the United States back to Britain.
Oh no.
No, but it's important because of the fact that you have somebody from the British royal family who is now disgraced next to another British
Yeah.
royal family
Prince Andrew.
member who is also disgraced.
Yeah.
You have like their entire monarchy is falling,
So you
and I
think
think
he's
it's worth talking
distancing
about.
himself
monarchy is
from
not
that.
falling. Whoa.
London Bridge is fallen.
The monarchy is not falling. We need to be very careful what you're saying. I have tickets to London
Well,
in a few months.
But when Queen
I do
Elizabeth,
not want to get kicked out
when
of the
Queen
country.
Elizabeth dies, eventually, God rest her soul.
Whoa,
we
whoa,
should-
why
God
are we talking
forbid.
about
God
this?
forbid. But
we
when
need
she
to stop.
does,
We need
got
to stop.
Prince
I
William.
am not here to listen to you guys.
We got
Joe's about to ruin Anibal's
destroy
vacation over
the
here.
monarchy right now.
We got
we need to
Prince-
be very
you
careful.
you can see
I
Prince William.
apologize
Wait,
to everyone
though.
that's
You can see
watching.
Prince Harry.
That's taking effect.
Anibal, think about this. You could
Who's
attend
left?
the funeral. You could attend you know, like you could.
But
you
who's
could
left
go.
at that
Why are we
point?
talking about this right now?
So no, it's important. Okay, so here's why
God
it's actually
bless the queen.
First off, nobody
She
said-
is very healthy, and she will be alive for the next 20
I
years.
certainly hope so.
All
I
right.
certainly do. But
So if you also have no idea what we're
Just
talking
rail
about, since
so quickly.
we'd like to jump into topics without explaining to people like what the topic is.
Oh,
like if they didn't
more
actually know.
people know about what's happening in the
Yes.
monarchy
And
right
that's
now
what my
than
point
the-
is.
Than impeachment,
When
the
they're-
Democratic
when they
primary,
got-
even Iran.
When they got married, when Kate Middleton got married, the entire like female population of this country would have given up the democracy if they could be a princess for a day. Like I will tell you,
Would
like
have sold the republic
they
down
would
the
have
river.
they would have thrown out the Constitution if it meant that they could be the princess of America. Like they are so upset. People are obsessed with princesses. Like they are
Yes.
obsessed with
Thank you,
queens.
Disney.
I blame Disney on
It
that.
is Disney's fault.
100%.
And so the point is, she looks so old in that picture. So-
You need to pick a
That's
better picture.
'cause
That is
she is
inappropriate.
old. That's how she
This
looks.
is offensive. Stop
That's
it.
how.
I need you.
You're
to
not
be,
British
I need
even.
you to be a lot better
not
at
even-
this.
So it's funny to watch. To watch. It is a storyline to watch an American go in there and marry a prince. And at the end of the day, I mean, the stories that are coming out of there is that it is as white as you possibly can get, like up the food chain. And not
of course
just
it's British
and elite, like past elitist. It's the monarchy, right? So like the point is that the problem that they're having with her and like the reason why they're leaving, like I mean, I think it does speak to like what is going on behind the closed doors in the castles and everything, because you have all of these tabloids kind of reporting really poorly on her, and I think that she's probably that woman is 93 years old. The fact that they have like an American mixed woman like that's a big deal. Like in like Kentucky, that's a big deal.
Right now, from all
whoever talks bad about Meghan,
the tabloids,
everyone talks bad about
Not
Yoko
here.
Ono.
Not here.
Everyone's talking bad about
Yoko Ono.
So again, I think what we're getting wrong in this whole situation is that an American princess, yes, she became a princess.
Yeah.
It is the dream of every woman in this country that's under the age of 90.
And some men.
And some men. We have very big populations here in the United States, and we're very open about all genders. And so that was the dream. The wedding, everything was the dream. And then she basically became a millennial princess that quit her job after 6 months. And now you have the situation where who are you gonna go back? Your
to be an
new
actress,
wife,
nonetheless.
Your new wife, or the family. You're gonna go with the wife because you're enjoying the benefits of being married to a woman that only made $50,000 per episode at Suits.
Well, okay, let me jump in here real quick because we
Go
talked
ahead.
about this before the show started.
Which we should.
And my speculation about this whole thing is actually a completely different angle, which is I think that the royal family wanted her out. And rather than killing her like they did Diana.
Oh my God!
We are dropping hot takes on the yard sign today.
We're moving on. Right there.
I think they said,
right
look,
there destroys
there's a lot of
your
evidence.
argument whatsoever.
If you don't,
there's a lot of evidence.
Fake news.
Saying.
The Queen and the rest of the monarchy loved the idea of having an American that was of a different. That was
Alex
that
Jones
was
around?
not just white. They loved the idea, but she couldn't deal with it.
Johnny, was Alex Jones around when Princess Diana? Because
pretty sure he was.
What's happening now
take.
is that the structure of the monarchy, the whole concept of the monarchy, it's something that's so difficult for people to understand and for you to deal with. It's difficult if you weren't.
They're not allowed to play
way.
Monopoly.
Exactly.
Anibal, here, I'll make this prediction.
She's not she's not Grace Kelly, who was literally an American princess that dealt with the media and everything else, and that could deal with the transition of being an actual princess. Whereas Meghan, or I like to call her now, Helen of Troy, had no idea in regards to having to deal with what she did.
I can't believe I can't believe you care so much about the Queen and the monarchy.
You knew this stuff about.
First of all, I'm a very Southern person.
You're not even white.
Like, you have to be white to enjoy the monarchy?
No.
Yeah.
We left the monarchy.
Oh, you
Because let's be honest, they probably colonized our countries at one point, all right?
They definitely colonized our country.
Our country?
No, I'm talking about Anibal and I. Stay out of this, Jake.
Actually, no. The British monarchy.
Stay out of this, Jake. This doesn't include you.
I know. Internal family problems right now. I don't think the British Empire ever colonized the Iberian Peninsula.
Oh my God!
What, like Portugal?
Now you're testing my geography.
Are you talking about Portugal and stuff?
I'm talking about countries in the Iberian Peninsula.
You gonna ask me to point out Iran on a map next too?
If you cannot point it out, you should not be speaking about Iran.
I only know because I am part Iberian, guys. Believe it or not. Yeah.
Well,
23andMe, I can show you.
Thanks for bringing that topic to a screeching halt.
I'm more Iberian.
Jake, I think this will be the last time you're on the podcast. You're not going to be able to play games with us.
I'm more Iberian than Elizabeth Warren was Native American, so.
Whoa.
Newt Gingrich is more Native American than she is.
So look, to finish my point, it was that
what was your point, Johnny? You stopped us all in our tracks with your conspiracy theories.
Continue.
I think the royal family wanted to get rid of her, and they said, "Hey, look, we'll give you the out. Just go ahead and make pretend that this is your little idea to go back to your Hollywood."
How do you know?
Do you think? I absolutely believe
Meghan
that's
has been
close to
talking
that.
about it. She wanted to out for months.
She's only been there for.
But why would
months.
she want out?
Exactly.
Okay, so people are memeing her as like the Get Out. Did you see Get Out?
Yes, yes.
It's
Oh my God.
The reason,
like Get Out.
Again, an American going into the British system and then them trying to play shade. Oh, we're just going to Instagram what we're talking about. The Queen in the British monarchy is like the epitome of passive aggressiveness when it comes to dealing
yeah.
with things.
Yeah.
So if you think you're gonna get away with having to do what all you had to do with, she wouldn't even go to the emergency meeting that happened earlier today. She Skyped in from Canada because she doesn't know how to get on a plane. That woman, which now I'm calling her Cleopatra, who's getting in the way of destroying another monarchy.
Is it me or is that a racial epithet there?
Why do we even have the monarchy over there? Well, we're not.
We're not part of the
Why
It's
did they
symbolic
even
at this point.
But why? It's a waste of money.
It's
a
not
huge waste of money.
Well,
It's
a lot of-
huge
It's not a
waste
waste
of money.
You obviously do not know the economic benefits that the
Here,
monarchy
I got another
does
prediction
for.
I got another prediction
To protect
for
them alone has to cost more than whoever
billions
goes to
of
see
dollars. Percentages in GDP of the UK
So
is
why?
because of the
to
British
look
monarchy.
at Queen Elizabeth? What are you saying?
think
How
that
does it
she's-
bring in
I'm
money?
gonna have a problem with you right now.
Do you think
Keep
that
on talking about the
Queen
Queen
Elizabeth is
Watch
keeping?
the Crown,
They
and
can
then
keep
we'll have
the
a
palace
conversation.
there.
Look, I got another prediction for Robin Hood over there. I think once the Queen passes, and obviously that's
If she
you know,
goes back, that would
you
be
know,
Which is
Honestly,
going to
I feel
happen one day.
uncomfortable
No,
having
I
this
think
conversation in
this
public.
year.
I think this generation, I think Harry and the other guy, the balding one,
William.
I think
Prince Williams?
I think they call it quits. I think they call the end of the monarchy.
No,
I don't.
that's
I
not
don't
true at
see
all. That's
Prince
not gonna
William
happen at all.
doing it. I don't see him doing it. He seems quite content.
The love,
I'm not- I
the
wouldn't do
love
it.
of the
He would be-
people.
he would
the
be king
love-
one day.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you why. Because they have much more loyalty to their mom, I think, than to the monarchy. I think they
Agreed.
were so attached to their
Especially
mom,
Harry.
and they continue to live under her legacy.
Yeah.
I think that their mother would probably want nothing more
Yes.
than to see the end of the monarchy.
No, Princess Diana did not want to see the end of the monarchy. I think you guys
Well,
are
they saw
having,
the end of her.
I think I think you guys having a lot
All right.
a lot of fun and a lot of
She wanted out of
cheeky.
it.
We're
though.
gonna get
She wanted to get out of
demonetized. We
it.
But
just started a
honestly-
Patreon.
But honestly, when it comes
We just got our
And she got it.
denied.
we
So
go.
in regards to the money that's happening, again, the Queen is by far the most. You guys are horrible. So in regards to money, it being the issue in regards to that of them being independent, they actually get very little from the federal or
don't
from the
cover for
actual
them.
government.
Do
I'm giving you facts.
you
in
think
regards
you
to
really,
that.
you really think they're not making
Only-
any money?
They live in the palace.
5% of money that's given from the public is
live
given
in the
to
palace.
the
So they-
to
That's a lot of
Only
money.
5%.
Do you know how much that is? No,
Trump
you don't
doesn't
know how
even
much.
take a paycheck.
Because he's a billionaire and likes
So
to
are they.
stick it to the man.
So are
this
they.
is a
You-
completely
how much?
different
How much do you
You
think
did
that
the
they make
math.
that?
I did the math.
before the show. They're freaking rich. They don't need any
They
money
are
from
not.
What's it say? 22 million?
I'm-
What are
okay.
They, what are they? What are they at?
Tell them.
So again,
tell 'em Anibal.
okay. So the way the money breaks down is that they actually get 95% of their money from the Prince of Wales. So they get it from their fathers. They're basically trust fund babies.
Yeah.
that's what's
And
going
do you
on
think
with
their
this.
trust
So
is,
right
is,
now,
is somewhere you can find? It's in the Panama Papers.
So right-
it's in Panama.
So right now,
Their money's in Panama. They're not they're not getting
Prince Charles'
financially-
income comes from the Duchy of
Yep.
Cornwall, which is a
Exactly.
vast portfolio of properties and other financial investments, which last year itself brought in $22 million.
Other properties
So if
and other
you-
investments that could be an entire country.
So
Yep.
Uganda. And so,
They're,
and so
they
honestly,
have so much money coming
Yes,
at it
it's
from
a
the
lot
Cayman
of- it's a
Islands,
lot of
or
old money.
or Panama,
Exactly.
wherever.
So why do they take a
Jake,
paycheck?
it's
Why
a
don't they do
lot
what
of-
Trump does
Now, hey,
and
Well,
sacrifice?
they said they're
their
going to be. They said
No.
they're going to be financially
that's
independent
not
now.
a real
And
thing.
Look, I'm sure
that's
Harry
not a
and
real
Meg.
thing.
I'm sure to
But
England.
it's not a real thing.
I'm sure to England, South Africa was an investment. All right,
That's what I'm trying
That's
to
all I'll
say. That's what I'm trying to say here. Like they're like when
is
you
America.
when you're like, oh, it's just a portfolio of a few properties and investments. It's like, yeah, your few properties are a couple countries.
But these
Like,
are
that's not
also
how that works.
privately held investments. Again, it's old money, and we all know about old money being from South Canada.
Privately held
So we
investments
all
called
compound
know-
interest.
So
Privately held
compound interest.
Yep.
privately held investments called the Falkland Islands.
Dave
Yeah.
yeah, that's why they fought for it.
And-
Dave Ramsey would know when it comes to compound interest. Again,
And you have
the crown has been here for millennia, so the amount of money that these people have is absolutely
Billions.
Can we
ridiculous.
talk
Billions and
about
billions.
Prince Andrew at all?
Yes.
Can you talk about
yes.
the monarchy?
Yes, we
Can
can.
you
Can you talk
Yes,
about the
we
monarchy?
can.
Yes, who got cut out of the family because of what was revealed. Now,
Yes.
do I agree that was the worst thing they should have? No, he should have been told to go to whatever federal court they have.
should have been sent
and
to
tell them
Australia.
exactly what's happening.
Which federal court? Which federal court? The
He
one
should-
that
they
the
should
one
not
that,
Australia.
the
he
one
should
that
be
let
forced.
Jeffrey Epstein
He
go.
should be in
get-
Florida. You want to go there?
Yes, exactly.
You wanna go
Yes,
there?
I do. That was
under
a like. No, but it was the Attorney General in Palm Beach. I mean, he's that like.
Oh, that's why you want to get into this conversation.
I'm not going to get into the conversation for any other reason than the fact that the monarchy is disgraced, and I think that
the monarchy is
we
not
have a beautiful
disgraced.
American princess who wanted nothing more than
Oh,
to
Do we want her
come
back though?
Do you
Yes.
know how? No, we do not want her back. The first
You
of
can
all,
have her, Brett.
she was making $50,000 an episode and was running a lifestyle blog. That's why you like her. And at the end of the day,
She's hot.
And
I'll
at
give her
the
that.
end
She's
of the
hot.
and at the end of the day, she couldn't even keep a staff. And the really reason why you can tell a person who they are is how quickly the turnover
True.
is in their staff. We see it
everybody-
all the time. The worst congressmen and senators
Yes.
are the ones that have the highest turnover. She couldn't
First
keep
off-
a nanny for crap.
First off, okay. I'm not,
I can
completely-
deals for Disney, please. This is ridiculous.
So first, I think it's hilarious that like day one, because one of the first things that she had to do was delete her Instagram when she was becoming
That's right.
princess.
Yeah.
The first day that they were like back to being independent, it's like Instagram of them, like,
Boom.
and it's like she's about to become an Instagram model. She's about to leave being a princess
She
to
might be
be
the
an
most
Instagram
followed
model.
Oh
person.
yeah, that's
And
on
I
Instagram.
want-
But that's
going to
be the extent. That's going to be
yeah.
the extent of her ascent. She'll get a reality show out of this, and that's about it.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's
oh
what
my
she
God.
wants. She'd
Horrible.
rather
I
have
would
a
watch that
reality
one.
show.
I would watch it.
Again, she is an American that wanted her own freedom, everything else. When you go into the monarchy, you don't
So you
have
like
that.
But that's
The
my
monarchy
point. Why do
minus
you
the
like
American.
the monarchy?
But that's the
why
thing.
won't you fight for freedom, Anibal?
because she left America to become a princess,
Yes.
and then realized it was too hard,
She-
and so she.
Why do you
came
hate
back.
this
She
country,
both,
Anibal.
she both became a princess in another country and came back and had her freedom. I think she won.
No, she's not winning at all.
How?
She's not winning
big
at
time.
all.
She's about to get rich. You said yourself
That
she only
doesn't
got
matter.
50,000.
When you're a princess, it doesn't matter how much money you're making or
But
not.
Because
see
she
all
was
the
stuck,
rules you have to
not
do.
allowed to play Monopoly next
a
to a
princess
93-year-old
sucks.
queen,
Yeah.
probably like feeding her butterscotch or
Being a
something.
the
princess
Like, I don't know
actual
what
because
her
the
life was
actual
like.
map that they're using for Monopoly is the world.
Yes.
And so
Not
these are
allowed
the
to play
problems
anymore.
around.
So you like the monarchy minus the American.
I love the idea of the monarchy in the United Kingdom because it works for them, and that's what the system that they
Does
want
it work
to do.
for them? Because they're trying to get rid of it.
Every year, someone makes a comment about wanting to get rid of it, but never goes above like 15% of the actual
It's
population wanting
symbolic.
to get rid of
It's
it.
symbolic. They
It's a
don't,
waste
they
of
don't
money.
have any true
Complete
power.
waste
They
of
don't have
money.
any. Yeah, it's all symbolic and it's all pomp and circumstance.
You
There's
guys-
palace
but
would
that's
There's no
what
actual
though.
power there
The
other
palace-
than their money.
That's what
They're
the people
go to
of
see
the
the
United
palace.
Kingdom want, and that's what they want. And if that's what the people want, then let them have it. We as Americans can debate and everything else, and you guys are being very good Americans for talking about the monarchy, blah 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 blah.
I
But at
will-
the end of
How
the day,
would they
that's
go
what the
about
people
getting rid
want.
of the monarchy
That's
if they
what the people
didn't want it? If they didn't
voted.
want
They
it,
vote.
could
they would
vote.
just vote,
Yes.
and then it's gone.
Then
Really?
well, again,
They could pass a
I don't
resolution
think-
in Parliament or something
there's
like that.
probably a way to be able to.
Is
get
it
rid
on
of
a
the monarchy
ballot
because other
every
countries
year?
Hasn't
have
been,
it's
no.
no. Because
Exactly.
there's not enough
So
people
how are they
that
gonna
want it
vote
to
for it?
because not enough people want that to happen. No one wants it to happen. You Americans are trying to butt into someone else's country's system of government.
They're trying to take our
We
women.
never do that.
trying to
We
take
would
our
never
one
do
heart.
that.
You Americans.
They are taking our mediocre actresses and their jobs. All right, let's
They
bring
took
up
her job. They took her job.
Take a little bit of a
She
breather from
became
that
a
one.
princess.
I got a lot more heated than I
Did
would have
she, though?
expected.
Did
for a-
she really though?
Her job
Did
is to
she?
make sure that she cuts ribbons and gives money to cancer
You
patients.
guys aren't even on
That's her
camera, and
job.
you're still arguing about it.
Didn't even cut her umbilical.
And you didn't
cord.
want to bring this on the show. This was the most debated topic of the week.
The
Hey, I
media
think it was a great
around the
topic.
world is either she's the smartest person of the world, or she's Karen from the third floor.
I don't
like
think-
this has seriously become an issue where that's the example that she broke up the brothers, and that's a huge problem that
They're
people
still
are having.
brothers.
They weren't.
All right, Andy.
weren't
come
My
on.
brothers and I don't live in the same house anymore. It's cool.
You
It's
no
fine.
longer talk either.
All right, Andy Cohen. Let's bring it to a close.
None of us agree on this.
Yeah,
one.
Jake.
None
Of course,
us.
I didn't expect
None
this
of
to
us
be a
agree.
hot topic.
I did. I totally
It's a
did.
conservative podcast full of males. I mean, that was like the last thing I thought we were going to be talking
It's
about.
Anibal's fault.
It's
It's
not
totally
my
Anibal's
fault. Just
fault.
because I'm one of the only people on this cast that has an objective opinion about what's being talked
I think
about.
it's a very
people
objective
that are
opinion.
saying that the monarchy killed Princess Diana and the queen's going to
They
pass
did.
away soon.
I don't.
Long
You might,
live the
She
queen.
is. She's old.
might want to look up the definition of objective. Good lord.
We can keep going.
If you weren't so passionate about, if you were any more passionate about it, then you would get a check from Megan or William. Or,
Megan, that Yoko Ono, no.
We
anyway.
can keep moving.
All right.
We're at an hour.
Look at that. My freaking menu went away. All right, here we go. All right, so hyper-local topic here. Not that I want to spend a lot of time on it, but, of course, if you didn't hear, there was a horrible accident on Bayshore Boulevard this past week. Drunk driver plowed into a pedestrian runner that was running along Bayshore. For those of you not from the Tampa Bay area, Bayshore is about an 8-mile-long sidewalk, known as one of the longest or the longest sidewalk in the country. It's obviously somewhat also of a landmark, being that Gasparilla, which we're also going to talk about, takes place there every year. And, of course, the powers that be, and that being the very wealthy of Tampa, are now all up in arms, wanting to eliminate 2 out of the 4 lanes. This sounds so lame now after talking about the Meghxit.
I know. You gotta do better order.
About it.
Anyways, so, no, but, it goes to a bigger point, right? Which is that, again, the people that live in that area are very influential. They're very wealthy. And, of course, they're all up in arms, and they want some sort of knee-jerk reaction to come out of this, just like it happened last year when there was another tragic accident due to somebody who was speeding down Bayshore. And the truth of the matter is that, again, I think it's if this were happening in Anibal, and I'm stealing his thunder, if this were happening in any other part of Tampa, nobody would care. Nobody would be talking about it.
Of course, yeah.
A week later, there wouldn't be memorials on the side of the road, and it wouldn't be all over the news. No, but it's the truth. And, and the fact is that people are like, oh, well, we should turn it into a park. No, we shouldn't, because A, it's not necessary, and B, it's a major thoroughfare. It's a major street, as it always has been since Tampa
I guess,
came into existence.
For people that are watching that aren't necessarily in Tampa, I guess what you can probably make an equivalent argument for is that I saw the same argument being made for Manhattan. By the way, they want to turn Manhattan into a park and take away all the roads. I've seen it in a couple other places. What ends up happening is that you have too liberal of people that have too much money and they don't want a road anymore. They just want a park, right? And
how are they going to get to their house?
I
haven't figured that out yet. How do they get to their house?
Yeah, you have to put a road on the other side somewhere.
Buses.
Bayshore Boulevard is by far probably one of the most pedestrian-friendly strips of street in our entire city. Yeah. And I will be damned if we're going to spend any more money increasing the property value of those white people in the most affluent area of the city.
That's the 5th white joke.
That's the 5th time.
I am so...
I thought we didn't do that on this podcast.
I am so annoyed. And the reason why I'm annoyed is because no one talks about it when someone gets killed on MLK and 22nd.
Right.
No one says anything when someone gets killed trying to walk on bears.
I was going to say, I've not heard anything. There's not been one movement yet to make a park on MLK
that's why it's all Virgil signaling. And
Fletcher,
all these people,
Fowler.
I know. And all these people that are talking about, oh, we need action now. No, what you need to do is be a responsible individual. This person was drinking and high at 11 a.m. in the morning. Do you think any form of regulation is going to stop someone like that?
You put him anywhere on any road, and he's dangerous.
Yeah. Nothing would have.
This would have happened anywhere he was driving.
Yeah, nothing would have prevented
that. Well, and just we have a problem with transportation in this city.
Yeah. True.
That is one of the only ways to go back and forth, up and down. Yeah. We have a peninsula, right? You don't have just vast amounts of land like you're in Dallas or something, and you can just build a road 10 feet down down the area.
3 bridges going over the water.
You can't drain the bay, even though a lot of developers want to. You have to keep that piece of land. You have to keep that piece of land as a road, and if you turn it into anything that's,
here's a solution that'll never happen because of the residents there will never let it to happen. Is that they should run the damn trolley that right now is of very little use and run that thing all the way down to MacDill Air Force Base, because that's primarily who's using it is the people who need to get down to MacDill Air Force Base. It's the most direct way to get to MacDill Air Force Base.
What's the most people that could carry in an hour though?
That's $5 million a foot.
Yeah, and it couldn't carry anybody.
I don't want to get into this.
So no, but with Bayshore Boulevard though, at the end of the day, you cannot have people advocating for parks, right? That are just gonna stop it. The best I'll give you is that you can make roundabouts. Roundabouts solve a lot of problems in certain places, and I'll give you you can put a roundabout in. Speed bumps.
But see, and I'm a big fan of the roundabouts. I don't want speed bumps
in my neighborhood. They put them in my parking garage, and I don't want them there. I'm
it wasn't
use
in an
platform to say that.
Was it in an intersection that this happened at?
No,
it wasn't even at an intersection.
No,
right?
That's what we're saying.
So a roundabout would
no roundabout would have stopped this from happening.
You can't stop it.
Also, Americans hate roundabouts. The fact that they put a roundabout in Channelside made people go crazy.
It does. People, look, but we need to be able to.
And we lost the fountain because people couldn't see across it.
Well, and last year when we had a similar accident, okay, but it was due to somebody that was speeding. They went ahead and lowered the speed limit. Well, did that change anything? No. People are going to break the speed limit because that's what people do,
especially when they're drinking and high.
And that's why you put. So I'm not going to be a huge advocate for roundabouts, but that's why you put them in, right? You put them in so you can go. If you can't go 85 around the whole circle, you have to slow down. You have to go.
Some people just go right through them, though.
You could. But that can still happen. And then they want to turn it into a park.
If there's any money if there's any more money spent on this one. Bayshore gets repaved like every year. Where there's some parts of Sheldon that haven't got repaved in like a decade.
Yes.
And that's my problem when it comes to this conversation, that they're virtual signaling. They're trying to push an agenda. I agree that things need to be done in other parts of the city.
Yeah.
But we're just focusing on the most luxurious and affluential part of the city.
Well, and it's bad, but it's one crash. Like, I mean, that's not bad compared to if you look at like data, like real data, like I went to USF. They have 3 of like the most dangerous intersections in like the state around USF, and they've barely done anything to fix those. They're a complete mess.
I mean, look, guys. I mean, I'm not to have a pity parade here, but I mean the accident that I was in about 6 months ago.
Oh gosh,
I mean,
never
nearly.
Shuts up
Did
about
anyone
this.
try? Did anyone try? So who tried?
Just kidding.
Joe's
back on. Joe, you come back next week.
Now I'm taking you off camera. My point is that you didn't see me crying about saying, hey, let's shut down half of 275 and get all the semi-tractor trailers off of it because one of them just tried to kill me. It's like this kind of thing happens every single day, and the only reason that anybody's even paying attention to this story is because it happened on Bayshore, and all the powers that be, including Richard Gonsmart, who happened to witness the whole thing happen. He's
the man.
Happened
He's
to be
everywhere.
Well, and again, I mean, that guy sneezes, and it's going to make the news, and so it's one of these things that. And the worst part is that you have this group, and Joe and I have been talking about it, which is Urban, URBN, and their whole objective is to get you to stop using your car. They want to eliminate streets. They want to eliminate cars.
I like the pictures that they post.
I love their pictures.
I love what
they
do.
Yeah.
And I love the information that they're passing.
Anybody
but the moment you get into an argument... Yes, go where you're about to go.
I was going to say, if anybody from Urban wants to come on the show and talk to us about like why any of these things are good ideas, like please invite you to do that. I don't know anybody from there. I just know based on your comments.
We could reach out to their Facebook page.
Yeah, I think
reach out.
Again, this would be a great conversation about how Republicans aren't upset or mad about when it comes to transportation.
Yeah.
We just have different thoughts of how to get to the conclusion that we all want to get to.
We hate traffic too.
Yeah, we all hate traffic, but I don't want
environmentalism.
I don't want to. I don't want to increase my taxes by 10% just for us to be able to have a trolley everywhere. And I don't agree with that, but I love your articles. And you guys are
I
really
like
nice
the renderings.
pictures.
I like the renderings.
The renderings are really good.
They're good renderings.
Now I understand when it comes to like space and parking. I completely understand and I agree with it.
Yeah.
Because like there should be less need for parking when you're building a higher structure.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah, they're probably getting lots of grants for all those nice renderings too.
I'm sure they are.
All right, let me go ahead and
this also
doesn't
doesn't say anything about us not caring or feeling sad about the circumstances.
No, it's a tragedy.
What's happening? It is a tragedy, and I really want to make sure that people understand that we are really upset about what happened. But at the end of the day, we should not be using tragedy to forward our agendas.
At the end of the day, it is one accident. Versus, again, there's so many other intersections that have maybe an accident every few hours.
Yeah.
Has anyone died since the lady and her baby were killed last year on Bayshore?
I think this is probably the next one.
I hate to say it, but that's statistically amazing. One death is too many.
Yeah.
But statistically, that's really good.
Well, Democrats don't
especially
like
with the amount of traffic that goes down Bayshore. Especially with the amount of traffic that goes up and down Bayshore, for this to only be the second fatality in about a year, I think that is pretty amazing, Joe. I think you made a great point.
Thank you.
Good job, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and bring up the menu as we start to wrap up the show here. Thank you again to everybody for watching. And yeah, we did open a Patreon account. So if you'd like to sponsor this insanity, you can go to patreon.com/theyardsign. Let me go ahead and bring
do we have a link for
graphic.
it?
Yeah, look.
I
right
guess
there.
Johnny, if you could flip it back to me real quick. What I want
me.
to say, more me on the camera.
Very
so
demanding.
what I want to say
just
about
wait till he smiles.
What I hey,
you want a close up too there, buddy?
Showing those
That'd be great.
teeth.
That'd be great. Yeah, if you could just zoom in me camera too. Anyway, so the point is,
hey.
So what I was gonna say though is that no, we created a Patreon for this show, and again. clearly we do not get paid for doing this. And, everything that is done on our own time and our own dime. And, we don't even spend any money on actually advertising it. So one of the things we've started to do is actually add a Patreon account so that any amount of money that goes into our Patreon account is going to go directly to advertising for this show. As in boosted posts, as in sponsored posts, so that more people can see this show. Yep. There's no money going to anyone's pockets. If we made $500 this month, it's $500 into advertising. This isn't a 10% to charity type of deal. This is all the money.
We're
straight
Republicans.
Yeah.
We don't do that crap.
Yeah, so it's straight to advertising, straight to get this message out. So if you do donate to our Patreon, we'd greatly appreciate it. We've got $0 in funding so far.
Nice. Well done, man. That was a good pitch.
Being super honest on
Might have a future at NPR. All right, so the big news coming up at the end of this month, and we're going to start wrapping up the show with this, is that, of course, if you followed Project Veritas, they, of course, took down Acorn in their first sting way back years ago. 2008, I think that was. And they're I would say this is probably their second biggest sting ever. They managed to infiltrate CNN, and the CNN whistleblowers coming to town, and they are going to be going to the Tampa Bay Young Republicans meeting, which means, Jake, tell us more about it.
Yeah, so if you want to meet Kerry, he is fantastic, and he's going to basically, Project Veritas is going to work with us on getting a full rundown video on what exactly they did in summary. You can go to projectveritas.com and actually find all of the different CNN whistleblowers, but basically what they did was go in and expose that the bias from the president of the company and how they they parade around as real news at the end of the day. So one of the things, when we post this kind of stuff on Tampa Young Republicans, I see the comments that come in where people are who cares about a CNN whistleblower? Do Fox News. Fox News is fake news. And I think, one of the things that people have to remember when it comes to, the CNN whistleblower is that, I don't know any Republicans that look at Fox and go, well, it's 100% fact. Right. They say in their title, we're entertainment. Do people take it as fact? I'm sure they do. But people,
I do.
But they do have,
Fox.
but they do talk about how it's infotainment, right? They are entertainment shows. The difference between what Kerry did with CNN is that CNN is going and saying we are news. We are straight down the middle. We're just reporting facts. And when they do that with a slant, there's a problem there.
Yeah.
BBC doesn't do it. And these all the boring networks that you don't watch, CN, C-SPAN and stuff like that, they don't do all that stuff. People.
That's why nobody watches, by the way.
I watch C-SPAN.
It is why nobody watches.
Nobody.
That and the monarchy, I can't. We're done
Why
with
are
it
we
today.
bringing
Wait. Finish the topic. Finish the announcement.
So at the end of the day, we have a great event coming. Tampa Young Republicans, go to our website, tbyr.com, or go hang out on the Tampa Young Republicans Facebook page. You can find the event on there. And then RSVP has all the information on there. We'll be at the Barrymore Hotel on January 27th on Monday evening from 6:30 to 8:30. He'll be there. We'll have, again, Project Veritas is going to work with us on getting us a great video. And then from there, get more involved. We have elections. We have people that want to, if you want to get involved.
Yeah. So we're really excited to announce that elections for this coming board season is coming up. For that, if you are a paid member of TBYR, please make sure to show up and cast your vote on those that are running for either continuing their board position or new board positions. Jake, do you want to actually say what you'll be running for?
Well, I mean, I've been president the past year, and I'm going to run for president again this year, and I don't think anyone else is. We got. You got. I think
Best
things are going well,
ever.
But again, that's why we have debates. That's why we have. We've got the election, so people can come and try and unseat me. But I'd really prefer if people come in. Get more involved. The position stuff doesn't matter to me. If you want to come and get more involved in what we're doing, come get more involved in what we're doing. And then
we have a good time doing it.
I mean,
we have a lot of fun.
This is the on-air version of the fun that we have at the meetings.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea behind this show. And so when people can come to the meetings and have you guys, this is the experience you have. Just there aren't cameras or mics in front of you.
Exactly. And no Democrats yelling in your face about stuff. So it's nice.
No,
if you wear a MAGA hat, no one's gonna. I think hit it off your head.
I think it is a really good safe, and I don't want to use the word safe space, but it is a good space to be able to talk and openly talk about Republicans, to be able to be open about it, because it's it's, as Republicans, that it's not safe to talk about this stuff sometimes at your work, or sometimes that you're even with family, and that to find a safe place to be able to talk about.
Even you Democrats that are watching, like I know how you feel. Like I know you want to come to the meetings, and you're like, I kind of agree with you guys. Like
the young Democrat events, I know it already.
They're young Democrats are boring. Come over to the young Republican
parties. Talk about them all the time, so we know you guys don't like them whatsoever. I will also be running for treasurer this year again, so if you want me to be reelected, come vote. That'll be great.
Yep. And then, do we have any other announcements other than we're going to talk about Gasparilla?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Gasparilla. Again, for those of you who may not be from the area, this is our big thing that we do every year. Of course, Boston has their St. Patrick's Day thing, and I don't know, what would New York say? Would New York their Times Square New Year's Eve thing? Miami does Calle Ocho. This is Tampa's biggest party of the year, and it's absolutely amazing. The flotilla is something that you have to witness to truly appreciate. Hey, y'all hush over there. And this weekend, it's like a month long of activities. It kicks off with the Children's Gasparilla Parade. Again, coming up Bayshore, as we were just talking about. And then that kicks off, again, a marathon. It kicks off a music festival, an arts festival. It's a really, in my opinion, the next month and a half is probably like the greatest time of year here in Tampa Bay. And Gasparilla, what do you guys feel? Actually, this is an interesting question. How do you guys feel about the mayor asking all the crews to stop throwing the beads?
I didn't know she did that. I have a massive problem.
What would Gasparilla be without
I'm actually
beads?
more passionate now about this issue that I did not know existed. I'm actually more passionate about this right now than I have been for anything else.
She told him to stop throwing them out.
Remember, you're running for president, so
especially
careful.
Especially if they're on the boats in the flotilla. They've
so
asked
are you
to
pro
stop
or against? I don't understand.
First off, you throw beads. Are you? That is Gasparilla. That is a parade.
Thank you. Yes.
That is.
You're safe.
We cannot stand for this regulation to come down on our parade in our Gasparilla.
Agreed.
What? Totalitarian.
But
No,
the mayor,
are you telling the mayor not to rain on your parade
I
right
am
now?
telling the mayor, this is we can sit down and have a conversation if we have to.
Please quote
This
the
is
Broadway for
I will
that
have
one.
an op-ed written about we need.
but she has
We
the
need
power to
beads.
make this happen.
You need beads.
She has the power to make that happen.
I
though.
want to see the regulation of people actually following through on that.
Cops are
I've been
everywhere.
hearing a lot of pushback from the crews that they are very upset about this conversation.
Of course.
I'm waiting for somebody to show up with paper beads.
What are they going to throw?
So now there is a company out there that has biodegradable
Oh gosh,
beads.
and
Get
how
outta
much
here.
of those?
They'll
How much of
dissolve.
those?
They'll dissolve halfway through. They'll dissolve. If it rains a little bit. No, I'm not going to have
It
Sweaty
rains
people.
almost
You know how
every other
sweaty
day.
people get on Gasparilla?
Again,
No.
I think, don't get me wrong, I understand the environmental
They clean them up.
implications.
Yeah,
They clean them
They
up.
dive into
I
the
will
river.
s-
Do people know that?
And
They
so that's
dive
what
into
I'm
the river
saying.
and they
I
clean
think
it.
what's going to happen is people are going to be like, no, that's not. We're still
Look,
going to throw beads.
Here's what I want to say. The mayor has done a great job so far.
Agreed.
This would be the biggest misstep she takes in her 4 years.
Don't do it.
I'm not even
Don't
joking
do
with
it.
you. If
I
she
agree.
was to ban the bead throwing, it would make more news and affect more people's lives in Tampa than anything
Yeah.
else she
There
does
are
the
a
rest
lot
of
of
the
people
year.
It's like
upset.
going to
Don't-
Mardi Gras and saying no beads.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're
Right.
not throwing beads in Mardi Gras into the
Yes, you are.
ocean.
Well, but they're
You're not
it's
doing
a-
that here either.
Yes,
they
you
dive
are.
in.
They sink and then they get
But
them.
you're
They
still
dive
throwing
in.
it into the
But
water.
it's only in there for a little bit.
Are you telling me that every single bead that's thrown into the water is picked
Of
up?
course
Most
I
of them-
am.
Of course not.
Of course I am.
You're going
There
to tell me
is-
that every single bead
I'm
is
exaggerating.
picked
St.
Of
Pete
course.
Oh
is
my
dumping
God. A couple
a million
beads?
gallons of sewage a day.
up? And it, so then that
do
doesn't
way
make
bigger
it
deal.
right there either?
No, go focus on that.
So
She just
you're-
had a meeting.
you
with
Why
want
is
the
she
beads
gonna
gone?
focus on what's happening in St. Pete when they're
Because-
having their own issues?
well, if you care-
and we're talking about beads,
Because if
we
you
must
care-
be having a great
You're
time.
saying you
in
want the
Tampa.
beads gone.
Because if you care
I'm
about
not saying that. What I'm saying.
are you on her side for this?
Why are you against the beads
You
anymore?
hate freedom?
What did they do to you? What did the beads do to you, Anibal?
First of all, if you know
So
me at
un-American.
all, I only wear one set of beads, and they're the biggest ones.
wear-
that you
I
got.
I've
wear-
seen them.
I wear one set as well.
I've
I
seen-
won't
Careful,
say
I'm
what-
scared
see
where
your
this
beads from
conversation
here.
is going.
This is going. I have the biggest beads in Gasparilla, so that's all I'm going to say about that. In regards to if you really
Debatable.
nah,
Debatable.
Look,
I'll show you after the show.
one of the
Oh,
Again?
Hey yo.
I don't know what's going on anymore. I just know that my point. But in a more serious manner, like if you care that much that beads are going into the bay, like stand up and go say something about all the sewage being dumped day after day by St. Pete. This is the same bay. Yeah. It's like across the street.
I think
go do something about that.
I think we're adult enough to say that we should not be purposely polluting the bay.
But that is what's happening.
I get that's what's happening in Gasparilla. We are polluting.
But they dive and get the beads.
They don't get every single.
They get 95% of them.
That's, you know what? You did not read a report because
I heard
every
it on
single
CNN.
podcast, no one else does any prep except me.
I heard it on CNN though.
Because of this, I know for a fact they do not collect all the beads, nor is it anywhere near 95%.
I tried.
And so because of this,
I tried.
I don't have a problem with her saying what she says, but I also think we should not be
it's a
regulating.
huge problem.
I don't think we should be regulating it either. I think she should say, "Look, let's try not to throw things into the water."
She will have more.
Every
beads.
single crew is going to give her the middle.
So
finger,
what do they do?
She
they just walk up and down Bayshore, just waving at people like a bunch of idiots.
I mean, honestly, they're still going to throw beads at the people when they're going down Bayshore, as long as it doesn't turn into a park.
If she wants to ask people to try not to get them in the bay, I'm fine with that. But if you try and make a real movement to ban bead throwing, like you're going to get more beads thrown at you on that car on the way there.
It may just be the flotilla, I believe.
No, people are throwing beads the entire time from the observatory.
No, but what I'm saying is,
it's really not that many beads.
Everyone is throwing beads.
But what I'm saying is,
I have been on a boat.
I've been on the boats. It's not that bad.
Were you drunk?
Most of them land in the boat.
Some of them are cannons.
Really?
Some of them don't.
Really?
Some of them do not.
How intoxicated were you?
There's
very intoxicated.
Exactly.
That's what
this is a big deal. This is a big deal. This is the biggest deal in town. Johnny, I didn't know that this was going to be on the show.
I will
today.
send you the story. I will send you the story.
Shocking that you didn't plan for this to be on the show.
First off, you didn't inform us on this one. But this is why. This is the outrage that I had. This is why I need a podcast because I am outraged.
I am upset also, and I don't believe that she should be regulating what people are throwing at any time.
Pick a side, Anibal.
However, what are you talking
you're
about?
on the wrong side of history this whole podcast.
He just flip-flopped in the last 30 seconds.
No, I'm not. I don't agree that she should be regulating what people are throwing, but I also completely understand where she's coming from in her opinion.
Wow.
So this Saturday, the children's gas parade.
Yeah, why do you hate children anymore?
Is starting.
Why do you want to ruin the children's parade anymore?
I just want to make sure our food supply is safe.
What do you want
Anyways,
to give the
our
kids?
food supply. Trust me, no one's eating anything out of the Hillsborough River. All right, let me just guarantee you that.
Gasparilla starts at 11 a.m. Saturday, January 18th. We have the main Gasparilla Day is on January 25th.
Go to gasparilla.com, get that information.
Moving on from there is the night parade on February 8th, that's the one I enjoy the most is the night parade. But we have
do the night parades.
The night parade's awesome.
Oh,
love it.
It's so much fun.
Yes.
But again, Gasparilla is
one Gasparilla.
One
Gasparilla. It's the daytime. The daytime one
that's
is
the thing.
Is the one.
You can only do one.
You can't
I honestly believe
it's when you can.
Both. And I love it.
Day and night parade.
Day and night.
I haven't
Day
done.
And night.
I know a couple. I have really good friends that met at day parade. And they got married and everything else, so that's like their anniversary.
Story. And you know what? He probably gave her a bead, and it was probably beautiful.
It definitely wasn't beads that they gave. He gave her that.
Crying right
and so at the end of the day, Gasparilla is gonna be a lot of fun. If you're just moving to Tampa, it's a great event to go to. It's lasting from the beginning of this coming weekend all the way until March. So it's a lot of fun.
He's using his hand a lot now. You notice that? Have you noticed the hand a lot this episode?
I'm sorry, I have to be a Hispanic moving my arms around. Racist.
I did not say that.
You thought it.
But what would happen? What would happen to our?
Says the guy who's been calling out white people all show.
All show.
Oh please,
all show.
Jonathan.
Thank you.
But what would you do with the parade if you turned Bayshore into a park?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And said there's no beads.
It'd have to be on bikes.
This is what the communists
parade of
no
bikes.
Beads.
This is what the communists want. They want you to turn your roads into a park, and you can't have you can't throw beads anymore. This is what they want.
Again,
we
the
want
moment
America,
she says
beads, titties, everything, end the show. Let's go.
Woo! And with that, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for watching this week's podcast. We were going to talk about Robbie Foster.
America.
Oh my God, that's right.
You might as well own it, buddy.
Oh, yeah, you can lead into that with that. He'd be happy.
So I kind of do agree with your position right now that Robbie would love the fact that we're talking about bead throwing in regards to a day parade and day drinking. I don't know how much was talked about last week. I apologize that I wasn't here last week because I was at the funeral for Robbie Foster, a beloved son of Florida. And I'm going to read something real quick that was prepared for us and really for me to express for Robbie, and I'll post it later on. Robbie Foster was the epicenter of the epitome of a Southern gentleman, living out his life motto of "sun out, thighs out," which is which I reluctantly to admit should be the motto of any good young Florida Republican man. Seersucker jacket, vineyard vine shirt, and red chubby shorts. As if anyone knows Robbie, they know about the chubby shorts. As I was trying to come up with a few words to talk about that would serve appropriately to describe Robbie and his life, the only thing I could come to mind was just the smiles, the laugh, and just crying about the memories that we shared together. Lord knows he ruffled plenty of feathers, making good Southerners blush with his colorful comments as they clutched their pearls, and those were just some of the gems that we were able to report into the media. I can remember many times and many conferences in D.C. and in Tallahassee where I refused to let him into my Uber because I did not want my Uber rating to go down because he would name everyone Mohammed, or being purposely told at a conference by the director herself and assigning Robbie to me to make sure that he wore pants at the gala that night. But that was our Robbie. For those of us that were gifted with the privilege of knowing Robbie personally as well as professionally, a piece of our heart collectively goes with him. Whether the political ally or adversary, personal confidant or media darling, with a larger-than-life personality, earning him a label of the son of Florida, with the loyalty and love of those, and for me to consider him my brother. Robbie Foster, we will miss you, and knowing how you were and who you are, I fully expect to see you in heaven.
All right. Well, thank you so much on that note. We appreciate everybody for being on the show. Anibal, Jake, and Joe, thank you so much, guys. As always, this was a really fun show. Again, check out our new links. We got an Instagram account. We got our Patreon account. Donating a few bucks goes a long way to help to get this show out across the country. We had our biggest show ever last week. Hopefully, we'll top it with this show. But again, we are doing this every Monday at 7 o'clock right here for you guys. Any suggestions on topics, people we should have on the show, we'd love to hear them. Contact us through any of our social media platforms. And until next time, again, we'll see you next Monday, 7 o'clock. It's The Yard Sign at facebook.com/The Yard Sign. Or just search The Yard Sign, like I said, on your favorite social media platform, and we'll see you there. From Tampa Bay, so long, everybody. Good night.